Hey, welcome back to the channel where you get to watch me build a Minimax 1100r. And today, the last video that you saw, I got the sheeting on the other side of those, and then I was making the brackets for the axle. And so I have those, all four of those made now, and I've actually matched I like to match them up so that I don't lose track of them, because as you move along and you drill holes, you know, these can be just ever so slightly off from each other. So whenever you get to the point which we're at, where we're going to be actually putting these on here, you want to make sure that they stay in the same orientation all the way through. So this is the right leg, so we've got these will go on this front side of the outboard side of the right leg. So that's where those will go. And so yeah, I want to show you the steps involved. We have to make a little jig for drilling, because that hole that goes through here is at an angle. Obviously the gear legs are splayed and the axle goes through, so it's clearly at an angle. So I'll show you that process, and hopefully it's friendly. Okay. All right, so the first thing we have to do is we have to make a block of wood that's 1 inch wide, same width as the axle, 3 inches long, and we have to drill a hole right through the center of it all the way down. And then we end up cutting it at 37 degrees, and then we end up using that to center up on the hole and drill the first hole through there. So first thing I have to do is get the saw out here, and I'll take a piece of 2x4 or something, and we'll cut a piece of 1 inch wide by 3 inch 3 inch long block. It looks like it's 1 inch by, doesn't really say the height. Guess it doesn't really matter. All right, so since I'm gonna since this has to fit the axle, I'm gonna actually use the axle to set the saw blade. So I'm just gonna throw this up here like so. And then I will just use that to slide over here up against my saw blade until I feel like I've got kind of a nice fit there. And once I get that set, then we'll just take a little test cut and see how they match up. So all right, so now we've got our block here. It's 1 by 3, and I made it 1 3/4 wide. And if you're not familiar with this particular technique for finding the center of a block, what you do is if this is new to you, and woodworking is new to you, what you do is you just draw from corner to corner and from corner to corner, and then that finds the center for you. So all we do is go from here to here. And then from here to here. I've got something in my hand that's a little heavier than I should, but I can make it work. So And then right there is the center of our block. So now I'll just get my center punch and we'll hit that. We will center punch that right in the middle. Something nice, mark right on the X. X marks the spot. Right there. All right, to the drill press. I realized in my last video that I was filming on this side and my hand was actually blocking all of the activity, so I've switched that around. So this is a 1/4 inch hole. And the other thing we have to do before we drill this, let me just show you real quick. With the square, we need to make a line. So we've got to have a line down the side on each side. So we'll come to the center of our hole here. See if we can get this. So we'll center it up that way, and then we have to come on either side and we need to make a line on either side before we drill this. So we'll do that here. And you'll see what that's for here in a few minutes. All right. Now we're ready to drill our hole. So we take a 1/4 inch bit, go straight through the middle, all the way through, and then I'm getting a low battery warning, so I better change the battery. 1 second, I'll be right back. All right. I don't know if you saw there, but since I'm not able to actually reach all the way, what I have to do is I have to raise my table. and then put my block back down, and we can fire it up and go the rest of the way. Okay, so now that we got that, we got our hole all the way through. You can see there, it's nice and centered. And when you look at it from the side, it's actually running right down the center line here on both ends. Square cuts from the beginning are kind of what sets that up to be successful. So you just make sure you get nice square cuts. And so then the next step is to take the block, go over here to the table saw, and we have to cut a 37 degree. Let's just double check before we cut it. Yep, 37 degree angle off of the end. So we'll just go, we'll just cut 37 degrees here. And then we'll be, our little jig will be ready to use. Okay, let's do that. All right, so I'm gonna set up my. I'm gonna show you how I set this up to do this, and I know I have talked a lot about this Rockler miter for the table saw, but you know it's just such an awesome tool, and it has so many uses. This piece right here, I'll see what this looks like to you, so I can actually. Maybe you might be able to see better from over here. Yeah, there we go. This piece right here just slides back and forth. But it actually locks into these slots at common sizes. This big knob, you just turn it to loosen it, and then when you pull this one back, then you can rotate it, or it'll just lock into 0, 15, 30, 22.5. If you're doing molding or something. But what's cool is you just pull this back, and it's got this wheel on it, so you can just tighten it down, and then you're free to rotate this wherever you want. And so since I'm setting up for 37 degrees, it's really pretty accurate, so I can see my my marks here really clearly. And so that's 37 right there. 36, 37. All I have to do is do this the other direction. That's funny. Okay, so let's back off. We got to go 37 to this side. 35, 37, 35, 36, 37. Now this has to go back the other way. And you can move this out to give yourself room. But I do the same thing. Let me bring you over here so you can see. I just bring this in just until I'm touching that edge of the blade right there, just barely. And tighten it back down. Now what's cool is when I set my block on there, all I have to do is put this edge of my block up against the edge of here, and then I'm going to get my 27 degree cut right there. And since I want to make double sure this doesn't move, I think I might actually grab a clamp and just clamp this in place. It tends to slide a little bit when I move across here, so I want to make sure it doesn't do that. So I may just clamp it real quick, just lightly, so it doesn't move. And then we'll be ready to cut it. Make sure everybody's clear of the blade. Yep, we're good. All right. One block, cut at 37 degrees with a hole perfectly down the middle. As perfect as I can make it. All right, let's go get set up on the next part over here. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is give ourselves a center line. Oh, and by the way, I actually have already taken the flush router and routed all the edges flush for now. These will get rounded after we finish this part, but for now everything is routed flush. You can see I like to keep just a little bit of material on the edge, and then I'll end up just routing that off before I end up rounding it off later. Yeah, so we'll just find the center here. We should be somewhere around 3 inches. I am just slightly over that. I'm like 3 and a 16th. So I'm going to measure it this way. 3 and a 16th, so 1.5 and a 32nd. Gets me there. And we're going to draw that center line here. Right there. And then it says our holes are 15/16 from the center line to where the holes go. So I think what we'll do is we'll see how that works out when we take our piece here, and we'll actually mark a 1/2 inch on this side. Half inch is right here. And then we'll do the same on this back side. All right, and what we're going to want to do is that'll allow us to put our brackets on either side of this, and then keep this centered up on our line. That's our 1 inch mark there, and we've got to get some other measurements here. 3/8 of an inch from the bottom. And that's where these holes are centered, so which actually puts this flush to the bottom, which works out just right, actually. Yeah. All right. So we'll set this in place. Get that centered up. And then I might be able to actually clamp that. So we'll put our brackets on the side, bring them down flush to the edge. Assuming that they line up together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this up. You look at the line on this side, and it actually ends up centered on the hole. So, which is about right there. That'll allow me to manipulate these a little bit. All right, we'll just take one more look at that. We're centered in the hole there. And we're centered in the hole there. This line is on the mark. That line is on the mark. And right there. Now we'll just come in here and draw our circles. All right, looks good. Looks good. Center, center. All right, so now we can pop this apart. Move that to the side, and then we'll drill these 4 holes 3/16. And that takes AN 3-13s. AN 3-13s. So all right, let's get the drill press back. All right, now I'll go find some 3-13s and some washers, some nuts, and then we can attach our brackets. And the holes look pretty nice. As soon as we get those attached, we'll actually be able to also test our axle in there. So, all right, so I've got that bolted on. So the just wanted to test the axle real quick, and it actually fits perfect in there. So nice and snug, not a lot of play. So that's great. That means that our dimensions are working out good. So yeah, so we'll get the block down in here and get that position where it needs to go. And let's see here. Make sure we got good alignment. Just making sure we're pressed good against the gear leg, and then I'm just checking the alignment through the middle of the hole, and it looks like we've actually got to tap her forward just a little bit. All right, that looks good right there. All right, then we'll take a clamp, and I'm going to actually use a screw clamp on this one so we can make sure we're nice and tight. We just don't want we don't want this piece of wood to move on us, so I'm just going to kind of clamp down on the bracket so we can't move it. And we're really good right there. All right, so this works best with a long drill bit. So we've got we have a long a 12-inch 1/4-inch bit. I think it's 12, which gives you more than enough room to get this done. So. Now, this is the right gear leg, and this is the front, this is the back, and we're going to go through like this. All right, so now we've got a nice hole all the way through, and now we take take it all apart. All right, so we've got the long drill bit put in the hole saw, and that'll help us guide us here. So all we got to do now is chuck it up. And we're going to drill halfway through from one side, and then we're going to flip it over and drill the other half of the way from the other side. So it's going to go just like this. and that's how we do that. All right, so to recap, we were able to get this hole all taken care of here, which is awesome. And I even I test fit the axle, fits great. So the method worked out perfect. Couldn't be happier. And so now I will do the other gear leg, get it all set up, and make sure I don't make two the same. So I have to make sure I keep that straight and get the right side the left side the way it needs to be. This is the right side. So thanks for hanging out with me, yeah, hey, I'll catch you later.